It's so good to see you, lovely Dynasty Typewriter Theater in downtown Los Angeles. How do you feel tonight? You look so much better than that. Please welcome to the stage, Spencer Crittenton. Yeah. He brought that backpack for you. He got a backpack full of emotion for you.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Hopefully laughter's not an emotion.
Not when you hyphenated like that.
Damn.
Are you all ready for your headliner here at Shucklefuck?
Yeah.
Please welcome to the stage the mayor of Harmontown. He gets down, Dan Harmon.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, we have so much to do. So much to do. I did want to. I was listening to the Pete Holmes episode from last week, and I there was so many things. I was like, well, first of all, Dan, you drink too much and you interrupt too much. You should let like fun people that have lots to say talk. Like I hate listening to myself interrupt people. But Pete Holmes said so many. There were so many interesting like little touch points, like little things he said, like
gems.
Hate is a lack of imagination. I mean, has stuck with me for a week. There were a couple other ones. Now I'm too drunk to remember. But really fun episode. So glad Pete came out. Let's all hope he has something to plug again so he comes by.
Yeah.
But I have a new friend for you guys to meet that I'm deeply excited about, which could be bad or good. I don't know. But I got here's the thing. Like this is the last episode before 2019. I believe.
What?
Yeah.
No, wait, no.
Yeah.
Really?
Because next Monday will be, fuck you, I'm in Tahiti. I'm a cliche. Yeah. I'm doing
you should podcast from there.
Yeah, I know. I will Minecraft from there, and maybe I'll try to see if a Twitch signal can go through the swordfish or whatever they have for internet. But so there's a handful of things. The one thing is that I've started watching the Tim Allen Santa Claus trilogy, and just so much to talk about with that. But I think I'm gonna wait. And my new friend whose work I have been binging, who's gonna come out. He's a writer director. So that unlike this one other thing is something I can talk about with him. So that means I'm leading with the following. But I'm going to try to give you the Reader's Digest version. This gets tragic. It gets touching. Dave, are you cool? Are you cool with this? Are you still cool with this? Yeah. Okay.
Dave said yup.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of tipped something by referring to Dave in the front row. But so wipe your brain of that because
it's going to ruin the dramatic tension.
Yeah. Well. So for the second time in a month, because the front gate on my lavish 3-bedroom property in Los Feliz I don't know if it looks like an apartment building's gate or if like the Proud Boys are having meetings in Los Feliz now and like they're just getting enough Dutch courage to like wander to my place, but then they're so drunk they forgot why they're there. But there's this new tradition mounting where my doorbell will ring, and then I'll turn on the security camera, and I'll see the creepiest thing you could ever see, which is a dude who has no idea where he is, just trying to punch fucking codes on a keypad. This is the second one, and so it's like I think it was 1:30 in the morning. Doorbell. You wake up from a dead sleep. Doorbell ringing. Unless you're 24 years old, there's no way 1:30 a.m. doorbell is going to lead to. I'm trying to think back. I'm like, maybe that's Andy Dick. Like when I was in the mood. Like hey, life works in weird ways. Like let's fucking rock and roll. Yeah. But maybe or like, hey man, that's the Lonely Island guys. They're they came over to open a laptop and show me dick in a box before they upload it to the thing. What? Hey, 1:30 in the morning is a magical time if you're young. I am 45 years old. I live in a fucking house at the top of a hill. I have a gun that I barely know how to load. I have a girlfriend that I don't want to watch die. And just the doorbell rings and it's interrupting my dreams about Minecraft. And I'm like, who could that possibly be? Turn on the cameras and it's like slowly comes up. Everything looks creepy in night vision. And there's just no way to look comforting when you are standing on someone's porch in night vision camera mode. Can we? I'll show the people, and if you're
heard there was a clip.
Yeah. If you're listening.
The craziest thing about that is that it says front door in the corner.
So this guy,
That's terrifying.
Crazy.
That was like that. He stood there and did that for 40 minutes.
So he's punching in codes?
Some of the time we were trying to figure out if he was A, punching codes, B, masturbating, because all you could see is like his arm going like this. So I was like, Cody and I are just standing there going, I think he's trying codes. And I'm like, why would he try codes? Where does he think he is? What rave does he think is starting without him? Where it's like, he rang the doorbell, the dogs are barking, nothing's happening, and he's just what are you on that makes you think like, well...
He's like, come on, there's 9 numbers. How long could it take?
And he was jamming on it for so long that I was like, Cody and I had the conversation. I'm like, I loaded my Glock.
A Glock 19?
I don't know if it's a 19.
I don't know what it is.
I'll tell you what it is. It's hard to fucking load. I'm getting a revolver. That's it. I'm getting a revolver.
Yeah.
Because have you ever put a bullet in a clip?
That's none of your goddamn business.
Fucking hard. Oh, sorry, Brandon. Sorry.
Brandon, come back. Come back.
I might have spit on a couple bullets to make the seal tighter. You should have called me.
I'm like, these springs are strong. Why do you think my thumb has this much muscle in it? I bought a device that's designed to compensate for weakness. Why would you make it so hard to load? Why is the bullet a fucking bench press? If I could bench press, I would go down there and karate chop this guy. But we really thought about it, and we were like, I was like, because you had said before, you go like, when you touch a gun, like they do studies. They hook a person up to the things. They monitor their endocrines. When you touch a gun, your testosterone spikes
real hard.
And I would be lying if I said there wasn't a strange, weird background program in my head that wasn't. I don't want to say I hope something happens. That's what
testosterone is doing.
But somehow in the background, in the far background, like not in a way that's real, but there was a noticeable. I was like, well. I'll tell you, the big headline was that I'm still not over. I'll still stick to this. I'm sorry if this hits a political button, and I understand that. We live in very, very painful times. I don't want to hurt you by saying this, trigger arguments with your loved one. If you're listening, I'm going to subjectively use my I statements and tell you how I felt and how I still feel. Like, it made me feel very happy that I bought a gun.
Yeah.
Because it was 40 minutes that it was like rang the doorbell and we're looking at him, we're going, shit, it's another one. He's drunk. But he was like doing shit, and it was like he was tapping. There was a tapping on the front door, and it was like, is that his key? That's his key. He's just tapping his house key. I was like, what if it's a fucking Wolverine blade? Like what is it? What if he's carving an eye? What if he's carving a perfect eye?
Look at this motherfucker trying to find a reason to shoot.
That's what testosterone does.
But we had the conversation. When we were like, okay, the cops aren't coming, because what Cody called the non-emergency. We didn't want to call 911. Like, We called the police, like you call special pickup. Like there's a poor person on my porch. You know, it was like it's not an emergency. You know, like that kind of like guilt about, and then that turns into outrage when they don't show up right away.
Right.
Where the fuck are they? But Cody called the non-911 police number.
311.
Los Feliz, they show up so fast. So we felt like, if anything, I feel bad for this person. But also he's terrifying us. And is he going to when you're drunk and like that frat blackout drunk? Like we've all heard stories from friends. Even some of us may have these stories in our life where it's like, yeah, and then I went back, and then I ended up. I had this dream where I was taking a shit, and then I was in a sink at a Pizza Hut, and I had shattered the window. You know, so like you black out. Like, what if he goes from harmless mode to like a black bear at a camping site, like there's marshmallows in your glove box mode, where it's still he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, and so what if
when
he
people
starts
aren't acting
kicking
right.
the door because he's so whatever he thinks the house is like he feels like he should be inside and not outside.
Right.
And so Cody and I are like, okay, so what do we do? And you know, I don't know if this is something you're allowed to pat yourself on the back for, but I was like, we will call the dogs into the bedroom, close the bedroom door. He can do whatever he wants to the house. We'll continue to wait for the police. And if he comes in the bedroom, then I'll shoot him.
What? What the fuck are you waiting for? If he makes a sandwich, if this guy sits down, makes a sandwich.
But if he touches my mustard.
You went from ready to kill this dude to like, if he starts to binge watch too much cable,
he can't delete
I don't want the
any of
motherfucker
my
to use. He
saved
can't use my
episodes.
resources. If he uses my resources, I'm gonna be pissed off.
But this is the privilege that comes with security cameras and all this shit. Like everything's very much in control. And I want to note that too, like because we were talking about this other thing where I was like, I don't know, just that panic where the cops eventually came, and that second where it looked, I was like watching them on the camera that I also have installed where I can see the cops showing up, and when they didn't do exactly what I was Cody and I are like, fuck no, fuck you. Like it was sort of like God damn, you can imagine like this is an example of chaos happening and everything's under control.
Yeah.
And like it's the safest version of this you could get, and still like the closeness that I felt with violence. It wasn't like, oh, well, the last thing on my mind is whether or not to shoot someone. It was like, I bought the fucking gun, like I bought a power drill. You never know, you need to put up a shelf, knock a guy down, put holes in him, kill him forever, ruin your life. I bought, this is what I bought it for. Well, time to load it up. I'll tell you what, if it comes in, it'll shoot him. It's just kind of like it's weird. Our fucking culture is insane.
It's like Chekhov's gun. Like you're introducing the gun. So like you're not just doing that.
Oh, right. The first act, there's a gun in the first act.
But like literally, I mean, it's weird, but like literally in your life, you're not doing it. It's like, and then it'll never come into play. Like buying a gun is kind of like making a choice that's like, I might choose to shoot someone in a way that's not on the table before you buy a gun, you know. So like at that point, I think you're thinking. I mean, this is not like an indictment or anything, but I think that once you own a gun or have access to a gun, I think you might think differently because a gun is an option available to you. And so it's just like that's just something. I don't know, that seems like something that we should at least talk about. I mean, you are, but it's
no, I'm trying to be faithful to that.
That's an interesting concept.
I want to be honest.
Oh, so I had that same thought. Thank you so much.
You're right. Because I'm saying I'm being honest using my I statements. I'm trying to also be accountable by saying this is not my political opinion. This is not even my personal philosophy opinion. As a cowardly person, I bought that gun because I got scared about the world falling apart. I bought that gun as like a donation to a religion that professes that we're all going to kill each other. And I put money in the collector's dish for that church that uses that money to build itself and preach more. I fell for it. I put money into it. I got my thing. And what I'm confessing is that it works. Any random thing that happens, you're happy you bought the Black & Decker people shooter.
Yeah.
Like the way you're happy you got the dustbuster because, I dropped the glass. There's shit everywhere. Yeah, but I bought this thing and thank God. It is that is the problem.
Right.
It is pretty simple because it's like, that shouldn't be how we're thinking about human life.
Or at least it should then have extra steps involved to kind of make it harder, because that's a problem that needs to be talked about, addressed, thought about, researched.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But we called them, and the cops eventually show up.
Right.
They come up.
This is a good
again,
story.
Every time you have a problem, it's like, holy shit, I love the police. These like wonderful like people. They come up with the flashlight. They're like. The people call they you could see them you could see them like calling in. They're like shining the flashlight and they're not seeing the guy.
And
I know.
And then they're like, "What the fuck did you do?"
Look, I mean, there's shit in the news right now that's all about this. Like, I believe, yeah. I mean,
I had to call the police once, and that's how scared I was of this white person. But I was like, I will take my chances.
I don't want to say like, I'm well aware of how privileged it is, but I mean, because I'm not aware of the ceiling of it. But I'm like, the whole time I'm thinking like, Jesus Christ, this is such a fucking luxury.
It is though
to be able to call people and like watch them come up, like to pray for the police to show up, and to be so relieved when they do, and to have them come up and the fact, listen, like we'll talk about like, what if the guy was black on my porch? What if I'm white and the cops are white or whatever they are? It doesn't really matter. The cops are their own race, sort of in how they view things. Like, and that's not meant as a diss. Like I'm saying, like cops have the protective culture. Like, what if the guy on my porch was black that was ringing my doorbell? How would that affect when I called the police? And what I was hoping would happen, what how afraid would I be? Like, okay, what if this? What if this goes pear-shaped? And I was thinking none of that, and it's partly because of the white privilege of the homeless guy on my porch. He had privilege.
Yeah.
Because I was like, cops, get over here fast as you can. Like fucking run up the steps, and like if you see a weirdo, grab him and hoist him out of here. Not fearing about any kind of like fucking like thing. Like when we're in a world where we read Facebook stories about a black social worker calls or is helping an autistic person and he gets shot. Like all this shit that we're defend. So yeah. Anyways, whatever. Well, I don't even know why I'm bringing that up, because it's like, thanks Dan for pointing out that whatever. Here's the point of my story.
But that's a true thing for all people.
Right.
There are times when we call the cops and we're all very happy to see them. There really are. I just had to make the joke. But really, the truth is, even myself.
Obviously, it's a class thing, not a race thing. Like if you live in Bel Air and you're a Fresh Prince, you.
I think it's a crime thing. If you're a black person and you're calling for a misdemeanor, then everybody's cool.
Right.
If it's a murder, then
and there's that camaraderie, like when it's
raining.
raining, and you're like, oh, it's raining. Like when the drunk guy hit my garage, it was just like a million cops outside my place.
Yeah.
Everyone's joking about my Segway.
Right.
Like. And it was just sort of like, I love cops. Like it was just sort of like high school. But if you were drunk, getting bounced out of a bar, and because it was like you had an argument with like maybe the bartender said some shit that you, right or wrong, thought was like too right wing for you to drink at his bar, and like all of a sudden the cops are like your encounter with a cop can make the difference between you. You could spend a life in prison. I know that sounds hyperbolic. But like that can escalate. I guess because I saw a documentary on Netflix about it. Like how about like even if you're like they purposely did two stories. One guy was a black guy, one guy was a white guy, and the white guy like came home, found his mom stabbed to death, and like because he was like freaking out and the cops were kind of like acting weird about his mom being stabbed to death, he ended up a prime suspect and hauled into jail. And like the story just cascades from there, where it's like he ends up in prison for like his whole fucking life. Because, anyways, whatever. Like, come on, Harmon, get off of this. There's an important part of this story that's like so tragic.
It's a good story.
So I sent this video of the guy on my porch.
Thank you.
To Dave Klein. Now, if you know what Dave Klein looks like, my personal trainer, he's got long blonde hair. So the video I just showed was of a guy that's got long blonde hair. He's got some leaves in it, and he's in a jacket, and he's like swaying back and forth on my porch. So I sent Dave Klein the next day. I sent him a text, sent the 11-second video of the guy, and I said, hey, don't come over here at 1:30 a.m. again. I almost shot you through the door.
That's a good joke.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a great joke.
Everybody loves being told, hey, like this guy looks like you. Dave's response, and I want it's like I asked Dave if I could tell this story. So like, I think he probably would have realized he's a hero.
They'll be on
in
his
the first
side.
place, but like really think about the fact that I said, Dave, can please tell this story, and he's like, yeah, you can. Dave responded with, Dan, I apologize. This video is sobering and a major wake-up call for me. I'm going to get some professional help for my drinking. Thank you for bringing this to my attention and also for not shooting me. And I looked at that and I was like, that's kind of a tonal departure from the Yoop guy. Like, he's usually not that dry. He definitely has a high IQ, so he's capable of doing dry comedy. He just doesn't usually choose to. But I didn't bother to. I didn't want to insult him by going, you know it's a bit, right? Or I don't know. I just didn't. That's like
Or a fucking hilarious comeback, man. You don't want to insult him.
That's the thing.
yeah. I also didn't want to weaken myself by going like LOL. I'm like, no, fuck you. Like, hey, if you're gonna be that funny, welcome to the big leagues where you play to the silence. I'll admire you when you're dead, bitch. That's the comedy rule, man. I'll fucking pour a 40 on your casket and be like, I never fucking laughed at you, bro. You were so funny.
I was too busy tagging my own bits to listen to your tags.
So 2 days after that, Dave rings the doorbell to do our workout, and it's
He's
open the door.
completely shaven bald.
I see his face, and I go, hey, man. And I was about to, I think I started to do a callback to the joke. I was like, hey, man, because I couldn't wait to talk to him about it, my funny bit. And
It was
I
a good
like,
joke.
Hey, man, don't, like, again, just to remind you, don't. And he's like, Dan, I'm so sorry. So sorry. And as soon as I saw his face, I was like, whoa, no, it wasn't you. And he's like, what? And I said, did you wake up in jail? No! It wasn't you then. And he's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I enrolled in rehab.
He's fine. You're fine.
Because that night, he drank 12 beers.
You're doing fine.
And took an Ambien. So he woke up in his own bed.
He didn't know what happened.
He was like, hey, I don't know that that's not me. Right. So he had a good faith rock bottom. Like I gave him the gift, I guess. I still can't figure out if I did him a favor. I don't know how to process that.
Yeah, thanks to you, he ascended from rock bottom, which you also inflicted.
It seems really unfair that he called Kaiser Permanente and said, "I'm coming in." And yet, if you have a map of the universe in your head where it's possible you did show up,
right?
When you look at a video, he said, "I called my dad." Anyways, so it's like. So please respect fucking Dave Klein, self-aware question mark, but if a question mark can be a Mobius strip, so self-aware that you allow for fucking the uncertainty, which I didn't mean to exploit. Right. Obviously, I never want to fool anybody, but I thought it was just I've never experienced that where I'm like, no, it wasn't you. It's like, whoa. Of course that wasn't you. And I kept looking then I started thinking, by the way, Dave, while we were working out, like I was doing tummy crunches and I was like, I had to keep going. I was like, was it him?
No, you can see the video. The bearded man. Look at that's a pissy beard. Dave has a much
he's got
nicer
a pointy
beard.
and it's not. But
no worries, man.
It was just because of your reaction. I was like, my cynicism. I was like, well, wait a minute. What? I started doing just because it was like you should be saying, well, I don't. You should be going, oh, I don't have that jacket. But Dave said, I do have that jacket. It's hanging in my closet.
Oh,
it's camouflage, but it could be leather. It's sort of like he's just doing all the necessary. He's trying to be a good person. By meeting the world halfway, and actually in a world where people will convince themselves they didn't murder someone that they murdered. Like we have true crime podcasts and 10-year jury trials about where people are just like, yeah, they passed a polygraph test. Yeah, because they don't want to be a murderer, but they are. Right. In that world, Dave Klein, the Jesus Christ of alcoholism, is like, yeah, hey, you did a bit where hey, I'll fucking fuck it, going to rehab. Well, because of the weird possibility. Yeah, well, you know what? First thought, best thought.
You should offer a service where you write people's rock bottoms. When they black out, and you can come back to them and be like, yeah, man, you fucked a watermelon and you shit at a bar mitzvah. I will say that dude, you have a full head of hair, whereas this dude was like sort of going bald, rocking 3 dreads. So that might have been the telltale.
I did see him out there. I went outside and looked at him. I had to just get verification from Cody because of my face blindness. After we worked out, I did go upstairs and I woke up Cody and said, Cody, just double confirm. It wasn't Dave Klein, right? Just like, no.
Right.
I was like,
also, what happened? What was the end result?
They by the time they came up there, he had disappeared from the camera. I think he was probably just seated, stoop-like in the doorway. So they couldn't see him right away. They came up, and so you watch the cops like come up. It's like, I just can't, feeling the fear to open your own door and then calling people whose job it is to like just rant. It's not even their house, and they have. I mean, I know that sounds so stupid to say, but it's just like that where you're like, oh, I hope these guys that I like inherently mistrust because they're about not having fun when I'm skateboarding in my Pringles commercial of my life, and it's just like. So easy to like fuck it, and it's just you're just like in those random moments where you're just like, I hope I see a fucking guy like with a fucking big belt full of shit and fucking I hope his walkie's squawking and that they're just like they're trained to just like they didn't freak out. I was like, why aren't you freaking out? Charles Manson is on my porch. You should be so freaked out. But they're like, what if that freaked us out? Like, what would we? They came up and that one guy hung back and did the thing, and then the other guy was like came up and like stood him up and like they cuffed him right away. I think it was more about like you got to get this guy off the property. I don't know what the rules are, but they took him down into the street where you could see that I think they did like probably as a formality like a kind of sobriety test, and probably took him and threw him in the drunk tank, but they just kind of, they like squirted him out and then knocked on the door as they were still, like, we went down and like, hey, how are you? In our little pajamas. And they're like, hey, do you know this guy? Do you recognize him? Like, nope. Looks a lot like Dave Klein, but...
right.
I think Dave who? Dave Klein. It's not spelled the Jewish way. He's like a Viking. Okay. Dave Klein. Is it Kline? Like, I really don't know a lot about him. You should. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, but it was like, thank you guys, thank you, and that was it. Like, and we'll never find out like what was that guy, where was he, what was he on, how did he? I want to know those stories, not out of like justice. I want to know them. I want to know who were you. There's a second guy. The first guy was like this weird like dude. He was like kept checking his phone and trying the code. It was like he looked like he had been invited to some party that someone had told him a code. He was a little more conscious, and then he eventually stumbled down the stairs and got into a white minivan and drove away. I'm like, oh, that's great, okay.
I wonder if you can find out what happens to him by checking the arrest record, because you didn't press charges.
Right. So what would I look at? I don't.
The date. of the incident and see.
That's like all public information. It's
gotta
like an
get-
old timey like medieval town. You can just be like, well, old man Simmons found a cat in the well.
Like the Daily Blotter. You want to do an incident report, and then if you did an incident report, they'll tell you what the situation. Maybe you can foster this guy.
Okay, well, so I wasted a lot of time on that. Didn't waste it. It was fantastic.
Fantastic.
I grew a garden over there with that.
Top
with
notch.
that. If you see Dave Klein, give him a lot of love and buy him a drink because that's a rare personality that can take that and then not say, please don't talk about that in the show. Like I thought that. I mean, that's very giving and wonderful.